Looking a little deeper into the periodic table, we found there were 4 major categories that we were investigating here, known as metals, nonmetals, metalloid, and then noble gas. Each one of those is color-coded, as you can see here on the periodic table. Yours is color-coded as well. But just a reminder, looking at these, we had metals, which was the largest category. We had our metalloids as the in-between category between metals and nonmetals. Then our final group over here was the noble gas. And so each of those, in our notes, we had a section that was properties and what they like to do with electrons. And so you should be able to go side by side with your notes and fill in 3 properties. Some of them we had more than 3 properties, so you can kind of pick and choose. But for instance, metals, we'll just look at this one together here. One of the biggest things people think about with metals first is that they are shiny or reflective. And they are also, one thing we talked about was malleable or bendable, right? I can bend and shape those metals. They don't snap or break easily. They can kind of be molded. And then we also talked about them being good conductors. Now, knowing all those things about metals, I can then easily fill in my properties of nonmetals, as these two share opposite characteristics. Now, we do need to remember mostly what is happening here with electrons. This is a big part of their characteristics. Yeah, we want to know the other ones, but we're going to be using this idea of what they do with electrons a lot more than what they're going to be doing when I bend them or running electricity through them. Metals, being mostly in the smaller groups, they like to lose electrons. And so when they lose electrons, they end up becoming a positively charged particle, or an ion, which we'll be talking about next week. Nonmetals then, having the higher groups, they like to gain electrons, meaning they're getting more negative particles, becoming a negative ion. So we're going to start to see that terminology used very soon. Metalloids are kind of in the between, so look back at your notes and figure out the details that you want to share with metalloids. They're really that mix between metals and nonmetals based on their location on the periodic table. This last group here, noble gases, what we know is that they have a full outer shell of electrons already. So because they already have that full outer shell of electrons, they really have a low reactivity, meaning they're not going to gain or lose electrons, but they're going to keep their 8 or full outer shell that they already have. They're not looking to get or give electrons to anybody else. They're happy the way that they are. So those characteristics we're going to start to utilize as we think about how atoms like to bond to each other. And we'll start to see some similarities between nonmetals and metals as we go.